Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. I came back, and it happened to be the 5th year of marriage when Lucas claimed to have amnesia. He said he only remembered loving your sister, Helen. His expression was pained. My son was holding my hand saying, "Mom, don't blame Dad. He just wants to take care of Auntie. Auntie is such a nice person. Mom, you wouldn't want to see her alone, right?" The system popped up just like in the previous life. Host, amnesia is not an issue. You were successful last time and you can do it again this time. Just conquer the affectionate Lucas and your son. I lit a cigarette, looked at the family photo, and saw the villain's photo on my phone. System, I remember. Can I change the target for conquest, right? The system was stunned. You had a chance to change the conquest target before but never used it. Why would you want to change now? Lucas just has amnesia, right? And both of you have a son, Tony. If you change now, what about your son? In my last life, I believed Lucas's lies and tried every way to make him recover his memory and fall in love with me again. But I witnessed his relationship with Helen getting deeper and deeper. Sorry. Maybe we have many beautiful memories, but I don't remember anything now. My heart only has Helen. No matter how hard I try, he only feels sorry for a stranger like me. He even wants to discuss divorce with me. And our son Tony is like a young version of Lucas. When I was suffering because I couldn't recover Lucas's memory, when I insisted on saving this marriage, he firmly stood by his father. Mom, you always tell me to be helpful. Why are you angry when Dad helps Auntie? You're so selfish and annoying. Even my parents came to persuade me. Why are you torturing yourself like this? Lucas now loves your sister. He can't remember you. Why are you holding on to the marriage? Later they began to blame me. Your sister got divorced, so pitiful. Why don't you care about her at all? She and Lucas are in love because you won't divorce. She has to bear the stigma of a mistress. She's your sister. How can you be so selfish? Eventually, due to long-term depression, I fell ill. When I went to the hospital, I saw Lucas supporting Helen. Helen was leaning against him, sobbing. Lucas, can't you tell Susan that you're faking amnesia? Ultimately, I was not successful in the conquest, but due to half-point marriage achievement and valid points exchange, there will be a chance for the host to be reborn with the original system. It will be automatically activated next. Turns out this is the epilogue. I finally understand why at the wedding, when I told the system I wanted to stay, it didn't say much. I never succeeded in conquest, never escaped the shackles of the plot. In the epilogue, the female lead and the original male lead divorced, and the affectionate second male lead, who was married but still loved her, ended up together. As for me, I am just a malicious supporting actress, a stumbling block on their path of love. I am a person that no one will care about, even when I die. What dog? Tony was stunned. Mom, what did you say? How could you call your own son a dog? Susan, don't intentionally do this just because I helped Helen today, Lucas said impatiently. Why are you jealous even of your own sister? And I need a break from helping you. Remember every day. No need, I said. What? I stubbed out my cigarette in the water and handed him the divorce agreement from the table. I figured it out. Memories are just memories, nothing serious. I've already drafted the divorce agreement, and I've even found my next partner. I continued. Let's fulfill each other and get divorced. What did you say? Lucas was stunned. Calm down. Ken is a lunatic. He's a big villain. You can't switch to him for guidance. I want to find a big villain. I smiled at the system. Otherwise, who will help this wicked woman like me overthrow them? I asked. Do you have the next one? Lucas couldn't believe it. He looked at me blankly and blurted out. How is that possible? For Lucas, this was clearly impossible. Lucas was Helen's backup, just as the past me was Lucas's backup. I always put him first, accompanying him when he was down, caring for him when he was in pain, and even staying up for days to change his ice packs when he had a fever. Susan, can you stop messing around? Lucas said sternly, throwing the divorce agreement on the table. I told you already, I have amnesia now. Pretending to file for divorce, making up some next partner to make me jealous or upset, there's not a shred of it in me now. We built the company together after marriage. I want 30% of the shares. I don't want the child, I said emotionally as I walked to the door. If you sign, we can go file for divorce immediately. He was stunned again. What's a divorce? Is Auntie going to be my mom? Tony asked blankly. I ignored the father and son and walked out the door. No, host, what are you doing? Lucas just lost his memory. He has feelings for you. Don't hurt him like this. The system kept talking in my ear. I spent 20 points to mute the system, bought new clothes, put them on, and went to the dressing room to apply makeup. You look gorgeous today. Are you celebrating a special anniversary with your husband? The makeup artist asked sweetly. I'm getting ready to have an affair, I said, satisfied as I touched my designed pearl earrings. You're kidding, she said. After a moment of thought, I decided not to drive myself but to take a cab to see Ken. May I ask who you are looking for? Do you have an appointment? The receptionist asked as she saw me. Could you please tell Mr. Ken that Susan is here to bring him a gift? Mr. Ken's office was quite spacious but a bit empty. I sat on the sofa looking around. Mrs. Susan, my time is quite precious, Ken said, sitting behind his desk with a stern expression and legs crossed. I know you're busy competing with Lucas. I smiled. If I said I'm willing to come over to support you, would you accept me? He hesitated for a moment, then suddenly laughed. I've heard that Mrs. Susan has deep feelings for Mr. Lucas. I never expected that now, for the sake of the company, you would come to me as bait. He got up and approached me, placing his hands on either side of me, his eyes dangerous. Aren't you afraid of entering the enemy's den alone and being devoured without a trace? We locked eyes in silence for a while. I laughed. I'm not afraid, Ken. Since you know I'm someone who can do anything for my husband, why not marry me? After all, you know my love brain can dedicate everything for my loved one. And the design team I have is quite good. He didn't say anything, but I knew he was somewhat interested. Not in me but in the resources I had. Actually, Ken and I were quite familiar. The company he managed was a rival to Lucas' company, and had caused trouble for Lucas in the market. I was a relatively well-known designer in the original world, and I helped Lucas with the first bucket of gold he made, which he used my jewelry design skills for. Over the years, Lucas and Ken had crossed swords several times, each with wins and losses. And Ken was the person Lucas despised the most. After a while he straightened up. Susan is indeed somewhat attractive, but I have no interest in married women. He stood up and walked closer, his hands on my sides, his eyes dangerous. But what if I divorced Lucas? I stood up, walked a step closer and looked up at him. He hesitated for a moment. Then it's another matter. He smiled. But Susan, you should know I do not tolerate traitors. Holding my chin, he added. In my view, marriage is indeed a valid contract, but if Susan wants to marry me, she needs to show some sincerity. 30% of Lucas Company shares and my design team. I'll marry you, I smiled. Can Ken handle it? Ken agreed to my conditions. In the following days, I moved out of the house and began preparing for life after divorce. Lucas and Tony didn't come looking for me, probably busy with Helen. One day, I went back to retrieve a forgotten design drawing, and was greeted by a scene of chaos. Tony was in Helen's arms, tears streaming down his face. My parents looked furious and Lucas had a scowl on his face. How dare you come back? Where have you been wandering off to? My mom started scolding me as soon as she saw me not caring about the child and not caring about the husband. How did I raise a daughter like you? Helen approached me gently, pointing out Tony being bullied in kindergarten and questioning why I didn't make him apologize first. I defended Tony's actions and criticized Helen's approach, but my family seemed to be in agreement with her methods. Frustrated, I asked Lucas if the divorce agreement was ready. Confused, Helen picked up the divorce papers and questioned my request for 30% of Lucas Company shares, calling me greedy. I stood my ground, explaining my contributions to the company's success. Lucas and my family accused me of being irresponsible as a wife and mother. The argument escalated until Lucas firmly rejected my demand for 30% of the company shares. Frustrated, I left the house and didn't want to see any of them again. Outside it was raining and I had no umbrella. Ken appeared with an umbrella, expressing his interest in me and suggesting a different approach. Meanwhile, I confronted Lucas with a new divorce agreement, demanding a clean break in his immediate signature. Lucas revealed that he had figured out my plan all along and accused me of seeking attention through the divorce. I sat down, lit a cigarette, and called Helen, who had been given a job at the company after her divorce. What are you calling her for? Come up and chat. Helen arrived quickly. Susan, what are you doing? Lucas is tired from work. Last time you made everyone in the family unhappy. This is a company. You can't just act recklessly. Shut your mouth and listen here, I interrupted her. Lucas, I turned my head, flicked the ash, looked at him and smiled. Now that everyone's here, tell me, don't you miss me? What? He was stunned, saying that he forgot about me and only remembered Helen. But when I wanted a divorce, he didn't want it. Isn't that because you can't bear to let go of me? You don't actually like Helen that much, right? Or is amnesia fake? You actually remember everything about us being together. That's why you don't want to sign the divorce papers, right? I looked at Helen. What should we do? I didn't expect him to love me so much. Stop. Lucas suddenly interrupted me. Lucas. Helen's big watery eyes immediately looked at him. His face was absolutely unpleasant. After a while, he clenched his fists and spoke. Susan, I pitied you initially. I felt that we were a couple and you had nowhere to go. That's why I didn't want to sign. I haven't thought about you, nor am I attached to you. You are a stranger to me. Do you really want a divorce? Fine, I'll grant your wish. He waved his hand and signed his name angrily on the agreement. But don't regret it. Fearing Lucas might change his mind, I dragged him to process the divorce procedures after signing. Get your divorce certificate within a month. He looked at me coldly and left. What's he so mad about? Wasn't he the one who wanted a divorce in the past? Watching his back, I felt speechless. A few days later, Ken called me and asked me to go to a location. I went, and it turned out to be a bridal shop. Susan, Ken specifically instructed to see which style you like. We'll help you try it on. When I married Lucas, I wore a long train wedding dress because he liked it to make him happy. But actually, I prefer a mermaid dress. This time, I decided to make myself happy. I tried on dresses at the bridal shop all afternoon, took a few pictures and sent them to Ken. Like the mermaid dress? He replied quickly. It suits you well. Suddenly, the phone rang. Thinking it was Ken, I answered without thinking. Tony has a fever. You need to come back immediately. It's Lucas's voice. I took a deep breath, forced myself to stay calm. We're divorced, Lucas. You are his father. Can't you take care of him? Susan, mother and son have a strong attachment. The child is in so much pain. How can you say such cold-hearted things? It was Helen. Oh, she's here. Then it's easy. I can't go. I gritted my teeth. Sister, don't you like Tony the most? Then let me tell you, when he's sick, he needs you to hold him all night like a baby, singing lullabies to him every half an hour to check his temperature. Also, he has difficulty taking medicine, deliberately spitting it out everywhere. But it's okay, just prepare the medicine many times and take several showers. I have no experience. Why are you telling me this? You're his mother, of course. You have to come back and take care of him. Tony, don't vomit on Auntie Helen. I lowered my voice. Do you think taking care of a child is simply giving him candy, secretly indulging him, listening to him sweetly say he likes you? It's not. Taking care of a child is staying up all night, taking care repeatedly, being busy to the point of not having time to go to the bathroom, eat, or even sleep. You want to be Tony's mother? Then you have to do all of these. Susan, the child is in such agony, crying and calling for mom all the time. Can you still argue about these trivial matters here? Why are you busy? What are you busy with? Susan, about the wedding dress, you need to slim down the waist a bit more, right? The store assistant walked over, smiling, and asked me. The other end of the phone suddenly fell silent. What are you doing? Lucas's voice sounded incredulous. I told him word for word. I'm trying on wedding dresses. In the following days, Lucas never called me again. Ken and I prepared for the wedding, while planning the company's next design and marketing strategies together. Returning to work made me excited because new ideas kept popping into my mind. I often stayed up chatting with Ken till late at night. A month later, Lucas and I agreed to go get the divorce certificate. Do you really have someone else already? He stared at me. Yeah. Betraying the marriage? Don't you feel guilty towards me? He suddenly said. I couldn't help but laugh. Not at all. After all, you don't remember anything except Helen. I shrugged. Since you've already forgotten and I'm the only one who remembers, it's meaningless. We might as well find other partners. Actually, Lucas. Helen, wearing a floral dress, trotted over and affectionately hooked her arm around Lucas's. Are you done? Tony and I are waiting for you to come home for dinner. Not yet. Hurry up. I took the lead. Have you two thought this through? The staff asked. Yes, I said, but Lucas didn't say anything. Sir Susan. He suddenly turned around. Have you really thought this through? After we finish, we'll have nothing to do with each other. I sighed. Lucas, can you stop dragging on? Helen is waiting for you outside. I just want to know, are you really so heartless after 5 years of marriage? We even have a child, Tony and I. Aren't we worth your attachment? I looked quietly at this man I had loved for many years. Last lifetime I didn't want a divorce. He found me clingy. This time I initiated the divorce and he finds me too easy to let go. Do they always let the main characters dictate everything? No, the past 5 years were precious to me. He suddenly looked up, a hint of light in his eyes. After all, I used those 5 years to understand one thing. There's no good ending with a backup plan. I patted his shoulder, emphasizing my words. His face didn't look good until we got the divorce certificate. Finally done. Took so long. Are there too many people? Helen, holding his arm, asked. It's okay. Then Lucas's phone rang, and his expression changed drastically. Susan. Did you make the whole design team quit? Yeah. Why? Mr. Lucas, why so nervous? I chuckled. Isn't your company the one you've worked so hard to build? What's the impact of losing one design team? We're married. How can you betray me like this? Lucas, don't be upset. I'm also a designer. It's just a design team. I'll help you build a new one. Helen tried to comfort him. However, he pushed Helen's hand away. Susan, are you doing this on purpose? We're about to launch the fall collection soon. And you do this now? What a fuss. Not a big deal. I ignored him and looked around. Here, Ken, over here. A Bugatti stopped in front of me. Ken, wearing sunglasses, stepped out of the car. Is it done? Lucas was shocked. Ken, what are you doing here? Ken glanced at him. I'm here to pick up my fiancé. Fiancé. Lucas was stunned, looking at me. Her. Ken embraced me. How could you, Susan? How could you? It seemed like he was so mad that he started coughing violently. Helen quickly supported him to help him breathe. Ken and I exchanged a look before getting into the Bugatti. Are they so upset because of the design team quitting? Ken asked. I nodded. And one more thing, he'll probably spit blood when he finds out. What's that? I sighed. Before the design team left, I ordered them to water down the money tree he loved so much at the entrance. The news of Ken and I getting married spread quickly. Surprisingly, the most intense reaction came from my parents. You can get a divorce, but why marry into Lucas's rival family? Come back and apologize to Lucas. Our family doesn't have a daughter like you. If you don't come back, we'll cut ties with you. So as they wished, I walked through the door, cutting off family ties. Ken's bodyguards followed behind me. Just sign here and we'll cut ties completely. Anyway, they weren't my real parents. You think marrying Ken will make you happy? He's just a bastard. When he's mistreated, he'll be kicked out. Our family didn't let you in, Susan. Tony suddenly rushed out with a toy gun aimed at me. I ignored him, signaled the bodyguard to take away his toy gun, and left. He cried loudly behind me. On the wedding day, I wore my favorite mermaid dress. Before going on stage, Ken asked what I was thinking. I used to genuinely want to be nice to everyone. But now I realize it's better to please myself. Ken nodded. When you encounter disgusting people, just don't treat them as human beings. What they do isn't humane. I fully agreed, feeling like I found a kindred spirit. The wedding was grand and joyful. Except for the night of the wedding, I fell asleep exhausted, only to be awakened by a phone call. Susan, I don't understand. What am I lacking compared to Ken? Lucas, drunk, was on the other end. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that Ken suits me better than you do. I hung up expressionlessly. The next time I saw Lucas was at a business cocktail party. I was with Ken and he was with Helen. What should have been a harmonious scene turned sour as he deliberately approached to cause trouble. I always wanted to ask Ken how he deceived Susan into marrying him. Ken smiled. Lucas chuckled. We are legally married. Whether it was legal or not, those two words seemed to have broken through his defenses as he blurted out inappropriately, so Ken should know how lovingly we spent the past 5 years. We even have an adorable son, right? Wasn't Lucas suffering from amnesia? How did he remember being loving? Ken smiled. If life together was indeed as happy as you claim, why did Susan immediately divorce you when you lost your memory? He clenched his fist, eyes turning red with anger. Are you really happy with me? Weren't you suffering from amnesia? I was getting impatient. I tilted my neck to show a little red mark. After all, last night was due to someone's excessive energy during sleep. I hadn't slept much. When Lucas saw it, his eyes turned red. Tired? Want to go back? Ken asked. Susan, do you know you've been tricked by him? I turned around to Lucas and said coldly, we're not that close. Then I walked away without looking back. But at that moment, Lucas ignored Helen's advice and rushed towards Ken, swinging his fists. Ken, you stole my wife. I'll kill you. The crowd gasped as they surrounded the two of them. Of course, Ken easily caught Lucas's weak punches and even twisted his arm. I could hear Ken's amused voice amid Lucas's cries. Lucas could spend his time yelling like a romance novel hero here, but he should care more about the company's well-being. Ken is truly a good person. Even in that situation, he didn't forget to give his opponent a warning. After the commotion, Ken and I drove home. I was feeling sleepy. He hesitated. Tonight? Tonight's not possible. I promptly refused. We need to discuss the plans for the autumn product launch. Okay, work it is. Suddenly, I felt more awake. Although my relationship with Ken is somewhat like a contract marriage, we're adults and we don't shy away from sharing a bed. We continue to do our marital duties every day. The key is to avoid conflicts and enjoy life together. After the party, I didn't see Lucas for a long time. 3 months later, the autumn product launch was a huge success, and Ken's jewelry company topped Lucas in market share for the first time in October. In November, Lucas unexpectedly launched an adored new collection with the new chief designer, Helen, being the lead. The collection received great reviews, and Helen even appeared on television for an interview. As she spoke confidently on camera, I realized that she had taken a design I casually made for a small overseas jewelry brand before marrying Lucas. I called the small jewelry brand and they were shocked, immediately taking legal action. A month later, the beloved collection was taken off the shelves, and Lucas faced a lawsuit for infringement. Ken generously loaned his most capable lawyer to the jewelry brand. Meanwhile, I received a call from my former parents. Your sister was ruined by that old design of yours. Why did you give her that design? I was puzzled. I hung up and blacklisted them. After that incident, Lucas was greatly weakened. It was said that he was especially angry at Helen for plagiarism, leading to a cold war between them. Perhaps feeling insecure at one party, Helen took advantage of a drunk Lucas and tried to get pregnant from him while Tony was distracted playing with Lucas's phone. Unexpectedly, Tony knew the phone password and accidentally broadcasted the whole incident, including how Helen drugged Lucas and seduced him, to the internet. The video quickly spread online, becoming a topic of gossip and post-dinner amusement. After waking up, Lucas and Helen had a big argument and cut off all business ties. In the following days, Ken and I understood each other better. Sometimes when I glanced up while working on designs, Ken already knew I wanted water. With Ken's and my combined pressure, Lucas soon faltered. The core design team left, moral and other departments dropped, and they lost several big deals. Another year passed, and at the spring product launch as the chief designer, I introduced my design concept on stage. The theme was Enjoy Yourself, as people always pursue things they like. We believe that when girls wear jewelry, it should make them happy. Therefore, we hope that every girl wearing our company's jewelry will first and foremost love themselves. Never waste time on unworthy people or things. Always believe that you deserve better. Just like myself, I once doubted, felt lost, and experienced pain. But after remarrying, my husband treated me well, and I am happy. I hope every girl can bravely seek their own happiness. The launch was very successful, with sales that evening hitting a new high. Later that night, as I sat sipping red wine with closed eyes, Ken suddenly picked me up. Back so soon? I yawned. When I opened my eyes, I met his intense gaze. Great job at the launch, he tapped my nose. After remarrying, your husband treats you well and you're happy? I rolled my eyes at him. What? Can't compliment you now. He chuckled softly. Today I suddenly felt like you're too dazzling. I almost want to keep you locked away so only I can see you. The long dormant system popped up at this moment. See, he's just crazy. He'll want to confine you, possess you. You won't be happy with him. I sent a 20-point ban and muted the system again. I feel the same way about you. I reached for his tie, untying it and binding his hands with it, loop by loop. A man like this, why didn't I notice him in my previous life? Dangerous yet charming, sincere and passionate. He's definitely more interesting than Lucas in every way. As I was thinking, my tie was suddenly taken away. When did he untie it? He's really naughty. He raised his hand, used the tie to cover my eyes, and his kiss gently landed on my earlobe. But I liked it. Lucas's career took a nosedive. Helen started writing short essays online, crying about how Lucas abandoned her after leading her on. Lucas then accused Helen of intentionally seducing him after her divorce, ruining his marriage and his reputation. The two of them fought fiercely on social media. And my ex-parents, due to Helen's small company going bankrupt, went after Lucas relentlessly, claiming he ruined Helen's marriage and wasn't taking responsibility. Unable to bear Helen and the two of them anymore, Lucas jumped from the second-floor terrace, fracturing his leg accidentally. That night, I fell asleep in a daze and received a call from a stranger. The person on the other end seemed drunk, kept saying to me, "Susan, I remember everything. I regret it. I really regret it." Ken was woken up by the call, asking who was calling. I hung up the phone, just a prank call. A few days later, another call came in. It was Helen's mother. "Susan, your birthday is coming up. Your parents have made delicious food. Come back so we can celebrate together, and you can bring Ken along too." I replied calmly, "Auntie, do you need me to send you the document cutting off the parent-child relationship again?" Then I hung up the phone. Ken glanced at me, saying, "You've been getting a lot of harassing calls lately." I sighed and added that number to the blacklist once again. Then one day, as Ken and I passed by the nursery where Tony attended, we found him being bullied by a few older kids. "Isn't this Tony who used to be wealthy? Why is he picking up trash?" Tony burst into tears. "My mom is very rich. She married a rich man. Don't underestimate me. I'll have my mom come beat you up. Do we need to intervene?" Ken asked me. I shook my head and said, "Let's go." Ken's jewelry business grew bigger and bigger. Then one day, a colleague from the PR department said someone was live streaming, selling fake products under our jewelry brand. Just as I was wondering who was so bold, I discovered that the manager of the live stream was Helen and the host was Helen's parents. "We are Susan's parents, the jewelry designers," they said, using my childhood photos to deceive others and give family insiders exclusive prices. Ken asked me how to handle it. I said we should go through legal procedures directly, make them pay if needed, and not settle. The live stream was shut down immediately, and lawyers filed a lawsuit. "Susan, how can you treat your parents like this? What about your conscience?" A few days later, Helen's parents brought her to the company and caused a scene. I couldn't be bothered, so I called the police. Later, the three of them were detained for causing trouble, and they faced lawsuits and compensation. That day, I received a bottle of good wine and went home ahead of Ken. "What are you doing hiding in the closet?" the system asked confusedly. "Just playing to surprise him." I gently closed the closet door. "You two are getting carried away. Susan, you weren't like this before." The system snorted. "One more word and you'll be muted. Points aren't used like this," it protested. Just then Ken came back and I quickly stopped talking. Peeking at him through the crack in the door, I saw him taking off his cufflinks, loosening his tie, and standing by the French window with his back to me. "What's wrong? Why are you so stunned? Do you like him that much?" The system chuckled beside me. Just as I was about to shut the system up, I suddenly heard Ken seemingly talking. I was stunned because he said, "System, am I about to succeed?" I stood still. Though I couldn't hear the system's response, it was clear from his words that Ken was also a strategist. However, his success criteria as a strategist were to defeat his competitor, Lucas, and make him bankrupt. System, did you know he was a strategist all along? That's why you didn't let me strategize against him, I asked. The system hesitated to reply. Originally, in the plan, Ken and I were engaged in a zero-sum game to some extent. If I successfully strategized against Lucas and lived a happy life with him united as a couple, Lucas probably wouldn't have ended up bankrupt with my help. Likewise, if Ken brought down Lucas with his arrogant personality, he wouldn't possibly live a modest life with me after defeating everyone, leading to a high probability of my strategy ending in failure. But now I opened the closet door. Susan. Ken immediately turned around, surprised. I smiled and raised the bottle of wine in my hand. I heard everything, wishing you success in your strategy. Let me explain. He suddenly looked flustered. It's okay because I am one too. What? He was stunned. Tonight we should talk for a long time. Ken shared that in his original world, his mother was falsely accused and forced to divorce. To ensure he received the best education, she worked many jobs, wore herself out, and passed away early. When he grew up and returned home, he fought against his half-brother, eventually defeated everyone, became the head, and sent his stepmother, who framed his mother, to prison. But due to overexertion, he ended up collapsing on his bed. Feeling my strong resistance, the system asked me if I wanted to come to this world as a strategist. He turned around stunned. Susan, why are you crying? I shook my head. It's nothing, just thinking about my mom in the original world. I also come from a single-parent family. When I was young, my mom sacrificed a lot for me. Later, she met someone, and I didn't want her to give up her happiness for me, so I left voluntarily. I haven't been in touch with her for a long time. She should be living happily now. I wiped away my tears. Ken put down the wine glass and hugged me. You, as her daughter, she must be happy. Suddenly, Ken's phone received a message. Lucas formally announced bankruptcy. Ken, the strategy was successful. Ken asked me what my target for conquest was. I didn't tell him the truth. In fact, I had already succeeded in conquering, but I felt comfortable here and didn't plan to go back. That's what I told him. The system expressed confusion. What difference would it make if you told him? I just smiled. I haven't actually succeeded in conquering yet. It means in his heart I am not the most important. It's not something I can achieve just by his sympathy. If you tell him, maybe it will increase the chances a bit, Ken said. I shook my head. I don't want to beg for love from anyone anymore, I told the system. A few days later, Ken's system urged him to receive the reward and return to the original world. He came to me to discuss. I agreed. I nodded. You have been here for so long. If you don't go back soon, the empire you strived so hard to build may fall into someone else's hands. I'm worried about you, he said, looking at me. What is there to worry about? I shrugged. You gave me such a big company. I can't spend all the money here in my lifetime. I'm too happy to have time to be sad. Is this really what you want? He asked. I nodded, very certain. So he transferred the company to me and bought a plane ticket to go abroad. On the day he left, it started raining. I didn't go to see him off. After he left, the system whispered in my ear. You have completely failed in conquering now. I told you not to choose him. It won't end well, but you didn't listen. I laughed. You know, system, this has been the most enjoyable time for me in this world. I don't have to be a licking dog for anyone, and I don't need others to like me. I can do what I want, not sacrifice myself. If I want revenge, I take it. If I want to enjoy, I enjoy it, I said. I think it's been worth it. The system sighed. I quietly checked the data. You were just one step away from success with Ken. Shall I try applying for a chance for you to stay in this world? But you'll definitely need to change your identity, and you won't be able to keep any of your wealth. Okay, thanks, I said, looking up as the rain started to pour. I hadn't brought an umbrella. Never mind, it's kind of nice to get wet. Time is running out anyway. I sat on a park bench like that, looking up, closing my eyes, letting the rain flow down my hair. Suddenly, an umbrella appeared over my head. When I opened my eyes, the man who was supposed to be on the plane was standing in front of me, sheltering me with the umbrella. I looked at him. I'm in surprise. How come you're here? I saw it was raining before boarding, so I came back with the umbrella in case you went out without one, he said, crouching down. You see, I guessed right. I just like getting wet in the rain, I said stubbornly. Aren't you afraid of missing your flight? But he seemed a bit sad. Susan, when I said I wanted you to be mine alone, I wasn't joking. He sat next to me and sighed. Today, just thinking about this weather, and the chance that another person might appear to shelter you with an umbrella made me cringe. So he touched my head gently. I still want to stay here and watch over you. I was stunned. What are you saying? In your original world, you fought so hard to achieve those things, your career, and now you don't want them. He nodded. I don't want them anymore. Those things, when I think about it now, don't seem so important. Seeing you makes me happier than anything else. You must be crazy, I said. I was already a crazy person. He lightly touched my cheek. So would you like to continue being with this crazy person? The streetlights suddenly went out. In the darkness, a cold kiss was placed on my lips. I was embraced tightly. And then a strange voice came from above. Congratulations, host. You have successfully conquered the male supporting role. Ken and I could finally go home. We handed over the company to his younger brother, who had just returned from abroad. In this world, we then boarded the flight back home. On the last day in this world, we hugged each other in the snowy field, watching the spectacular aurora in the distance. As a shooting star fell, a familiar voice sounded from the aurora. Congratulations to the two conquerors. Next, I activated the space-time tunnel, sending the two of us back to the original world with healthy bodies. And Susan, since you chose a conqueror as the target, the difficulty doubled. After successfully conquering, you can receive additional rich point rewards. What would you like to redeem? I looked up at the sky. I always had a question. You mentioned on the day I was reborn about marriage achievements and effective points redemption. But at that time I didn't have any points. Where did the points that allowed me to be reborn come from? The system seemed silent for a moment. It was your mother in the original world. Shortly after you fell into a coma, your mother stayed by your side in the hospital. Just as you were about to be erased in this world, your original body also suffered from acute failure. Your mother dreamed of your failure and conquest and knelt down, praying to exchange her 10 years of life for the chance for you to come back. Tears burst from my eyes. It was Mom, my mother actually. It was my mother who loved me all this time and never gave up on me. Can I exchange all these points for my mother's life? I choked up. Of course, you can add a total of 20 years to her life. Ken, who was next to me, hugged me as I couldn't stop crying. Susan, let's go home. Let's go home to see Mom. That night, with the brilliant aurora, Ken and I held hands and went home together. Doctor, come quickly. My daughter moved. She moved. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying in a hospital bed. Beside me was my mother, who had been by my side all along. Susan, it's me, Mom. Mom has always been here. Mom. I reached out and held her rough hand, smiling weakly. I'm back. She nodded vigorously, tears streaming down her face. The following examination showed no problems at all. Miraculous. It's truly a miracle. There is absolutely no issue with your health, the doctor marveled. The nurse on the side chuckled. I told you our hospital has good luck. Mr. Ken in the VIP ward just woke up. Isn't he the richest man in our city? Sure is. They said he had no hope before, surviving on life support, and then he suddenly got better. But he just woke up and seems a bit out of it. Heard his family is urgently looking for a woman named Susan in the city. Who knows if she's a foe or what? Who wants to find who? I asked absent-mindedly. Miss Susan, your name is the same as the person they're looking for. The nurse leaned in, grinning. That Ken guy sounds pretty scary. Watch out so you don't get mistaken for someone else. Where's the VIP ward? I grabbed the nurse's arm anxiously. On the 16th floor. I leaped out of bed immediately. Your shoes. On the elevator, I rushed to the 16th floor. At the end of the hallway was the VIP ward, and I pushed the door open. There were several people in the room, but none of them were Ken. On a nearby empty hospital bed, no one was there. Miss, who are you looking for? Someone approached me. I may have got the wrong person. She's Susan. A familiar voice suddenly appeared behind me. I turned abruptly. He was standing right behind me in a patient gown, looking a bit thinner than before but still handsome. Our eyes met and we smiled at each other. He walked closer and embraced me tightly. "Susan," he whispered in my ear, "do you still want a fishtail gown for the wedding dress here?"